go. Hi, John.
Hi, Ching. How you doing?
Happy birthday not to you, but to Daisy.
Yeah, Daisy's birthday.
I'm putting down my instrument now, okay?
All right. She's got a work meeting right now, so she's in the other room, but she'll be back. She said thank you. She's shouting.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I saved it for now because I didn't say happy birthday to her earlier. So, how are you, John?
I'm doing well.
Long time no see.
Yeah, just sort of hunkered down here in the Poconos, and working during the day and doing my own other writing at night. Just sort of a quiet life. Be able to get some exercise, do some swimming, and just and stay socially distant and healthy.
Yeah. You're lucky. You're closer to the nature than us. We're in the city. But then, if you want to come back to city, you have a place to come to.
Yeah, we're going back and forth. We're like gypsies, really.
Good gypsy. Good gypsy.
COVID gypsies.
Yeah, COVID gypsy. So, so speaking of gypsy and speaking lifestyle, you have been working all this time, like since COVID?
Yes. Yeah.
At home.
Yeah. Since March 11th, we started working from home.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, it's great. We never really missed a beat. And I work for a company called Freewheel, advertising technology company, and they just sent us home on March 11th, and we've been working from home ever since. I'm probably not going to go back for a while.
Wow. So, may I ask what exactly you do for a living?
I work as a technical writer. So I write technical documentation that helps. Sometimes it's for users of the software system. Some of the documents I write are more technical for the people creating the software. So or people interacting with it in a technical way. So I write some documents are for a technical audience and some are for more end user audience. Mostly technical these days.
Yeah. Can you give me an example when you say technical? Like say you write like say when I buy things from Amazon, there's a description of the product. Is that considered technical writing?
I guess it could be. I mean, maybe it's more marketing writing.
More
like it depends on the audience. Like we have, computer programmers at other companies who might want to interact with our technology. So I have to explain to them how they can interact and give them the parameters and the links and all the information they need to get the information.
Right.
Just the same way, like writing instructions for, how to create an advertising campaign or something like that.
Yeah.
Using the software.
I see. So let me introduce to our audience. We have several people here already. Thank you guys for checking in. Some of them know you and some of them are my friends. And let me read a little bit. John has a short bio here. You can also see it in the description of this video in YouTube. John Kearns is the author of the short story collection, Dreams and Dull Realities, and the novel, The World, and playwright of dreams, including Boann. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Bowen.
Bowen, including Bowen and Well of Wisdom and In the Wilderness. His newest play, Bowen and the Well of Wilderness, has had staged readings in New York and Dublin in 2019 and will be on stage in New York in February. John's fiction has appeared in publications such as the Medulla Review and Irish Echo. His poems have appeared in journals including the Grey Sparrow Journal and the Razor's Wine. His essay, Bronx Thunder to Riverside Angel is included in the Colin Broderick writing Irish of New York. Excuse my pronunciation. John has a master's degree in Irish literature from the Catholic University of America. So we're going to talk a lot of John's work later on. So John, tell us a little bit about your background, because even I know you for years, and I know you're Irish. I know you give great parties every year. But I don't know enough about your background. So tell us more about your background, please.
Well, I grew up in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia area, I was born right outside of Philadelphia, and went to Jesuit schools there, went to St. Joe's Prep and St. Joseph's University there in Philadelphia. And then after I graduated, I moved to the Bronx and lived in the Bronx for years. I used to be a school teacher. I taught high school in the South Bronx. Then I was a proofreader for an advertising agency. I worked, and then I found my way into technical writing, which is what I've been doing for a long time now. And I've been writing, I guess, seriously since I was about 16. Started keeping journals at an AP English course where we were required to keep journals, and it just came kind of along right at the right time in my life. I had a lot of things to, as teenagers, you have a lot of things to talk about and get off your chest, and so I started writing a lot of stuff then, and then I've just never looked back. I'm still writing since those days. I mean, nowadays I don't really keep journals as much. It's more like I've got projects to work on, either plays or novels or now screenplays. So I always have some sort of project going. I just keep working at it, whenever I get time, just about every day.
Yeah. So now educate me. What makes somebody a good writer? Because I kind of know what do you need to be a good musician, some kind of raw quality. In terms of writing, what does it make someone a good writer?
Well, I guess it's important to be able to put yourself into someone else's shoes and to sort of imagine yourself as another character, and then to be able to describe that to someone else and make someone else feel that and understand what that other person is seeing and thinking, and depending on how you're writing, the style of writing. But I mean, obviously you need the verbal ability. You need it takes a lot of work, a lot of practice, a lot of editing, a lot of rewriting. But I think the essential thing is probably, aside from the verbal skill, I think you need to be able to, have an imagination and sort of be able to put yourself into someone else's shoes these days, and which is getting rarer and rarer these days, it seems.
Yeah. So when you always write since you're 16, seriously. So do you have any preference? You writing for theater or writing novel or writing poem? I know you do all of them. Do you have a preference what you do first, and then which one is more harder, if there is a ranking?
I don't know. I guess I mostly think of myself as a prose writer, as a novelist and fiction writer. But even a lot of my stuff, even that stuff, a lot of it is it's very poetic. So, but I think that's the way I think of myself mostly, as a prose writer. But living in New York City, there's a lot of opportunities to get involved in the theater. So I got involved in that around 20 years ago, I guess. And so I've done about 11 plays now, just sort of 5 full-length plays and 6 full-length plays and 5 one-act plays. And the poetry, poetry I sort of write sort of occasionally. I don't really work at it as a steady thing. It's just sort of like when I get an idea or inspiration for something, or then I put together a poem. But sometimes I write rough drafts of poems and come back and fix them up. But generally, I've either got like a big prose work, a novel, or something like that, or a play. And like I said, I've also just started to write screenplays too. So I usually have some sort of project, and I just kind of keep working at it every day, and then rewriting and reworking it all the time.
So could you tell us a little bit about your latest work, the novel you finished and is published called The World?
Well, there's an earlier novel called The World, which is singular, and it has
Okay.
the two letters turned backwards because it's supposed to be kind of a young person's point of view. So it's written like the way a child would write. And it's about a 16-year-old boy, and so it's very much focused on his perceptions of the world. And now the latest novel is called Worlds, Plural, which is about a family. It's about four. So I have four generations of a family, and they're represented by four main characters, one from each generation, and they're kind of seen through the eyes of the seven deadly sins or the seven lively virtues. So the sort of this kind of looks at these four characters and these four generations through that sort of prism of those, seven deadly sins and seven lively virtues. So you see the good sides and the bad sides of these characters, I hope. So yeah, it's called Worlds. It's available on lulu.com. It's not yet available on Amazon, but it should be soon. But yeah, I'm very happy. I have a wonderful cover by the artist Tim O'Brien, who did a fantastic job putting that together. So I think some great blurbs from Larry Kerwin and Malachi McCourt and Eamon Wall and Kathleen Donahoe. So I'm very happy. I'm very proud of it. So I hope people can check it out. It's an unusual book. It's not told in a usual beginning, middle, and end. It's sort of it's organized by the themes of the seven deadly sins and the seven lively virtues rather than chronology. But there's a few things that are there's a couple of threads that run through it to keep the plot together.
So there is excerpts. Should we play that a little bit?
Sure.
The excerpts. Yeah. What do we have here? Wait. Hold on one second. I need
This is
yeah. Tell us about this excerpt, please.
Yeah, it's a wonderful actress and singer, a friend of mine, Annalisa Chamberlain. She was good enough to record two excerpts for me, because these days I'm trying to promote the book through social media, and so this part is the character named Janie, who's the third generation in the book, and she's a woman who kind of married into the family, and it takes place in the 1970s. She sent her son out to the supermarket to get her some mayonnaise because she's making some tuna fish and she forgot the mayonnaise because she doesn't like mayonnaise herself. So the little boy comes back and with disappointing news.
Okay.
The screen door clattered shut. Aroused, Janie went to the kitchen doorway. She spied Paul crossing the living room. His hands were empty, and the look on his face told her he did not know what to say. "Where's the mayonnaise?" Janie asked. "It was in a brown paper bag, and I was riding home with it, and it started to rain. The bag got wet." "They gave it to you in a single bag?" "Yeah, and it got wet, and the bag broke. The jar fell in the middle of the street, and it smashed." "Where?" Paul winced. "Just down the street, Simpson Road. I tried to make it back." Paul could still picture the first few speckles of moisture appearing on the bag. He had started pedaling harder to get home before it got completely soaked. He kept looking down at the bag draped over his handlebars, getting more and more alarmed at how quickly the raindrops were darkening its shade of brown. He tried to hurry, but it was just too far. The bag split in two, and the mayonnaise jar crashed to the asphalt. The bag got too wet. Just a single bag. They gave it to a young boy in just a single bag? Strangely, she seemed angrier at the store clerk than at Paul. Maybe he would not get in trouble. "Yeah, it was only one bag, and it wasn't even that strong when it got wet." "Get in the car. I'm going to go over there and tell them a thing or two about sending young boys home with a jar of mayonnaise and a single bag in the rain." They drove in silence through the woody streets, overhung with blossoming trees. The sky was dark, and the rain was soft but steady. Some tree blossoms were stuck to the street and the sidewalks by the rain. No one was outside in the small front yards. The only sound was the rhythmic whooshing and squeaking of the windshield wipers. When they got about halfway to the supermarket, Paul spotted the smashed jar in the middle of the street. Mayonnaise and broken glass and brown paper all mixed into a disgusting mess. It reminded him of the dead birds he sometimes saw on these same streets as he walked home from school. There it is. I see it, hun. The mess didn't seem to make her feel sad. It only seemed to increase her and focus her rage. They pulled into the suburban square lot and parked. Janie shut off the car and pulled the keys from the ignition. She marched directly to the front door of the A&P. Paul hesitated for a moment and then figured he should probably follow her. He stepped on the black mat and the door swung open. As he got inside, he could hear his mother shouting at a teenaged cashier. "The manager," she was saying, as if to someone who couldn't understand English. "I want to see the manager." A small man with an obsequious smile beneath his mustache appeared, trying to appear important and polite at the same time. He was not even able to utter, "How can I help you, ma'am?" before Jane Doherty Logan turned on him her flamethrower of ire. "I would like to know what genius put a jar of mayonnaise in a single bag for a young boy to take home on his bike on a rainy day. Whose brilliant idea was that, to give a flimsy little bag to a boy trying to run an errand for his mother on his bike?" She glared at the cashiers one by one as if she could read the stupidity and meanness on the culprit's face. "Whatever happened, ma'am, I'm sure we can talk it over in a civil tone." "Civil tone, my eyeball! You'd like to keep everything in a civil tone, as quiet as can be, wouldn't you? Well, yeah, maybe in your office. Well, I'll tell you. I am a regular customer here, and I want everyone to know," the voice grew even louder, "I want all the regular customers to know how a young boy running an errand for his mother is treated by the A&P of Ardmore. I asked my son Paul," she pointed toward her boy, who stood timidly at the edge of the scene, his hands in his pockets, his eyes on his shoes, "to get me a jar of mayonnaise. And one of the Einsteins you have here put the jar into a single bag. Are 2 bags too much for the A&P to afford? Is it too much trouble to double bag a jar of mayonnaise on a rainy day? The bag got wet in the rain, and now the jar is lying smashed in the middle of Simpson Road." Well, if something happened on the way home after he left the store. Yeah, something did happen on the way home. The single bag you gave him broke. "Come over here, hun," she said under her breath. Paul walked over and she put her arm around him. She raised her voice again. "Do you want to go out and see the single broken bag and jar in the middle of the street right now? I'm prepared to show it to you and anyone else who is interested." Customers had stopped in the aisle to listen. A couple of women pushed their shopping carts closer to the checkout lines to see what was going on. "If you really want to go to such trouble to defend service so poor and so stingy that you can't even double bag your groceries on a rainy day for a customer obviously too young to drive, if this is what you want me to tell my friends, your customers, that the A&P is too cheap to double bag its groceries, then of course not, Mrs. Logan. What kind of mayonnaise was it? Charlie, come over here and help Mrs. Logan." A few minutes later, Janie and Paul walked out of the store with a free jar of mayonnaise in a double bag. Paul felt his mother could have gotten a whole order of groceries for free if she had wanted to. But she had fought like a lioness for only a jar of mayonnaise. And she didn't even like mayonnaise.
That's pretty funny. Let's move this.
That's great. Yeah, you did a great job.
Yeah, very. I was just. I always have to look for my phone, make sure I put on airplane mode when I'm with you guys. So that's why you look at me and look funny. But anyway, so it's so funny. She did a really good job, huh? That's very visual. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jane. So Janie is, like I said, there's 4 generations, and she's the third one. So she lives. she kind of married her maiden name was Doherty. She marries into the Logan family and becomes Janie Logan.
I see. Yeah.
And then the Paul that she's talking about in the supermarket is the fourth. So he's the other. So that's one of the episodes where there's actually two of the characters are together in the same episode.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. So now, so tell us how people can get your book. You have a website. You like how is it a link? I think underneath, right? Underneath.
The link is actually, I think, in the YouTube page.
Yeah.
But if you go to lulu.com and search for Worlds Plural, then you should maybe put Worlds John Kearns just to make sure you're fine. And it's available there. And it will be available, as I said, on Amazon and all the rest of the places. But it's just the process is very slow, I think, because of COVID and everything.
Yeah.
And there's an ebook available as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Great.
So lulu.com.
Lulu. Yeah. Isn't that Lulu is like a television, like a TV has a Lulu thing? Is the same thing?
Oh, that's Hulu, I think.
Oh, that's a Hulu. Yeah. Yours is Lulu. Okay.
Lulu is sort of a print-on-demand publisher, so you order it and they'll print it and they'll send it to you.
Lulu.com. I'm writing it down, and then I can pin to here. See, Lulu.com. Right. So now tell us a little bit about your also latest achievement of your playwright works.
The play? I have a play called Bowen and the Well of Wisdom, which, as you mentioned in the introduction, we had 2 staged readings so far. We did readings in New York. We did a reading in Dublin about this time last year, which was great. And so now the full production is going to be in February at the part of the New York Theater Festival, and it'll be in the Hudson Guild Theater on 26th Street. Sort of February 17th, 19th, and 21st, I believe. So, if you look for the schedule of the New York Theater Festival, you can find it there. Hopefully, it's been postponed a number of times. It was supposed to be in the summer festival, and then it was postponed to September, and then I think November, and now it's February.
Yeah.
So in February, we'll all be able to get together in a theater and watch those. And
could you give us a little bit, short version of a synopsis?
Sure. It's about a father and daughter. It's based on an Irish myth about similar to kind of a Pandora story. That there was a forbidden well, and there was a character named Bowen, and she was not supposed to lift the lid off this well. Only the high priests these pagan sort of high priests were allowed to open up the well. And there's a story. It's just basically throughout the play. It's about the relationship of the father and the daughter. It's only 2 characters and 2 actors. And they eventually, after the father dies, she can't help her curiosity anymore. She does open up the well, and she becomes and she creates the Bowen River, which is one of the major rivers in Ireland, and becomes the goddess of poetry. So it's a very poetic sort of play. And as I said, it consists of mostly some monologues and some dialogue between the 2 main characters, and sort of goes back and forth. So she's kind of struggling where she's a great singer, but she can't write her own music, and she hasn't been able to create. And so until she disobeys her father and does this dramatic deed, she sort of becomes a river, but then the river sings, and she can sing her own song for the first time. So it's a poetic piece about maybe a little more than an hour long, based on an Irish myth. And the Irish myth was only kind of, if you look it up, it's only maybe a short paragraph. So I had to sort of make up a lot of stuff. So, and I added that basically the father and daughter run a pub together, and he wants to keep everything the old-fashioned way, and she wants to make changes, and so there's some little bit of conflict between them. But I think, and I have a wonderful director named Britt Burke, who she won the top prize for best director at the First Irish Theater Festival earlier this year. So she's on board, and she keeps, she's very patient with all these postponements. And so I'm excited to have her, have this award-winning director working on it. She's excited to be part of it. So we'll see. Hopefully, there won't be any more postponements. We'll be able to actually have the thing on stage in February.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the theater world because the pandemic. Like how, I mean, you have a regular job, right? You have a day job, and you're a writer. Lots of actors, um, in theater world, people are suffering. So, and
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about your experience with what you know, please.
Well, I know that a lot of people were trying to put things, performance and things online, like we just saw. Annalisa do that wonderful piece. And I have some other friends that have been working with the Irish Repertory Theater, and they were putting pieces on just about every week, I think, on Instagram and I think on Facebook, called The Show Must Go Online. And they would just sort of keep the show going, but just doing little dramatic pieces. I also say, like, people are actually starting to do plays, using Zoom and online tools. I watched my friend Mark Butler's play recently online. They've even had theater festivals, but a collection of one-act plays that were done through Zoom. So I don't think that really replaces the intimacy or the connection in live theater, but I guess it's what we have to do now. Because that's really I think the writers. I mean, I think actors and musicians too. I think musicians are also, as are playing online and playing from their living rooms. And it's great. It's great to hear them, but it's not quite the same. I don't feel as being in the same room with them and having a live audience. I'm sure it's probably the same for the artists as well. So I guess people are trying to use all these social media tools and technology the best way they can, under the situation. But I hopefully we will be able to get back to live theater, live music, and because there's something special about having people all together in the same room, all responding to the same thing at the same time.
Right. Definitely. In terms of live music, I'm a musician,
Yeah.
my first profession. So, um, in normal circumstances, I would not want to play on the street, or in the park. Um, because I feel like I'm begging, Yeah. But yesterday I actually thought differently, and I hope I can keep thinking that way. Yesterday I got my instrument. I got my 5-string violin, which I played earlier, and a speaker, and I just went to Central Park, and I figure people need to see someone play now in person, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the theater is no more. Lincoln Center is all closed down. All the Broadway is closed down. I don't know. Psychologically, I feel like I need to see someone play in front of me, as a live person. And
Yeah.
so yesterday I took the leap of faith. I went. I played about an hour or two by
That's
myself. Yeah. And
How did it go? Did you enjoy it? I mean,
it's actually uh it's good. It's very good. I couldn't play in the ideal. Sorry. Why I sorry.
crickets.
How did that happen? I put my phone in a what do you call, what's the mode? Airplane mode already. Okay, sorry about that. So I went to the place where ideally is like there's a little gazebo, and then next to turtle pound,
Mhm.
turtle lake. Is it called pound or lake?
Turtle Pond, yeah.
Turtle pond. But there's a group already there, and I knew they were there before, but yesterday they were there too, so they must go there regularly. So I just went on the off street, find a small walkway, has benches. I basically just sat on the bench, almost like play for myself. It's not even like a big display. So people actually do pass by. Yeah, especially some kids, some children. they loved it, and so the parents will give them $1 or something. So I made a couple of dollars, uh, and then I made I videoed myself like 2 times, and one clip I put on my YouTube, one clip I put on Facebook. On the Facebook, about an hour ago, I got like 100 hit already.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, people loved it. I was just jamming, not like very serious. But anyway, so speaking of music, we'll talk about your screenplay later. Would you like to play for us a little bit? Because you also play the guitar. Tell us about your musical training.
I don't really have any musical. I basically taught myself. Well, that's not entirely true. I mostly taught myself, but a few years ago, I took some classes at the Irish Arts Center. But well, you've seen from our St. Patrick's Day parties, but generally, like in Irish culture, people have sessions where they have a couple of musicians who might be the leaders of the session, and then anyone else who wants to come and join in can come and play. And I have watched and listened to those sessions for years, and I kept looking at the guitar players and saying, like, someday I want to learn how to do that, And I took this class. I took it for a year or two, and even though it was specifically about Irish music, it taught me a lot about music in general. Because basically you have to learn to improvise. You have to learn about different keys and chord patterns and things like that, chord progressions. So because they don't always tell you, and there's no sheet music, they don't always tell you. They might tell you, oh, this is an E of G, something like that, and then you just have to kind of jump in and you have to know the progression so you can kind of back up the tunes. So I learned a lot about music. So that's my one bit of musical training. I took lessons a long time ago when I was a kid, but didn't stay with it very long.
Would you like to play for us a little bit, please?
Sure. I just happen to have a guitar right here.
Yeah. So
put this down.
Yeah, you're gonna go back a little bit. Back off a little bit. Yeah.
Is that far enough?
I think so. That's good.
All right. Well, this is. I've also written songs over the years. I write. Don't write them that often, but occasionally write songs. I actually took another class in songwriting at the Irish Arts Center as well. So this is a song I wrote a long time ago, and I played it recently at my friend Mark Butler's Christmas cabaret at Don't Tell Mama, and it was kind of received well there. So I thought I'd do it today. This is a song I wrote many moons ago. It's called "Save Your Breath." To you who have thought me mad all these years, and to those with whom I shared my strife, when all has been done, I'll shout right in your ear. I'll say, man, you should have lived my life. 'Cause I've been loaded in bars and in so many cars. I drank every drop of my drink. I took every test, and I often was best, and I always had time to think. So if your advice isn't free when you try to change me, save your breath, you might need it someday. 'Cause going halfway there is like going nowhere, and I can't see it another way. When I loved, my heart leapt into the sky, and it always fell flat on its face. But when they all left, not long did I cry, because others would take their place. Yes, it's true that of tears I cried more than my share, but honest, I just don't care. 'Cause I've laughed a whole loud, and of that I am proud, and I'd do it again if you dare. So if your advice isn't free when you try to change me, save your breath, you might need it someday. Going halfway there is like going nowhere, and I can't see it another way. Every place that I've gone, my mark is still on. My stories have all been told. I sweated my sweat, though I left a few debts. I smiled as I grew old. So to you who have thought me mad all these years, to those who I share my strife, when all has been done, I'll shout right in your ear. I'll say, man, you should have lived my life. So if your advice isn't free, when you try to change me, save your breath, you might need it someday. Going halfway there is like going nowhere, and I can't see it another way.
Bravo! Nice. Very nice. Now,
that's a song I wrote like I said, a long time ago. I talked about stuff about drinking in the song, and I don't think I was legal to drink when I wrote
it. So now, speaking of Irish, and tell me more about what strike to me, because I don't have many Irish friends other than you, and every year you have this wonderful party in your house, and so many people come, and people make music, people read poetry, people sing. So it's a very different dynamics between Chinese, because I am Chinese and your wife is Chinese, and Chinese people are very much into food and into party as well. But Irish people, man, you guys, not only you know how to drink, and you know how to eat, you know how to party, you know how to do art. So tell me more about the tradition, and also the togetherness. I feel you guys are so bonded together.
That's interesting. Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I think that's great about the party, because we have the Chinese food, and then we have the Irish music and beer. So, well, it's been a big part of Irish culture, I think, for probably hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years. I know I grew up in Philadelphia and I was born in this country, but from what I understand, in Ireland, like when you go to a party, you're expected to have your party piece, and that was the sort of the traditional thing. Everyone was supposed to have a song or a poem or something, a recitation of something that they would do, and each person would take turns entertaining the crowd. So I think in the days before there was television and radio, I think people just entertained themselves at home, and just everyone had a poem or a song, or a dance they might do. So I think as far as the people being bonded together, I think part of the thing with Ireland, and I think Irish Americans especially, we've lost a lot. They basically lost their own language. There is an Irish language, and it's still people making a lot of efforts to keep it alive. But it's most people speak English. We've lost the language. We've lost a lot of the culture. We've lost the country that our ancestors were from. A lot of people had to come here to flee from starvation. So I think maybe these cultural things, the music and the poetry and things like that, it helps. And maybe it does bring people together. It does keep that bond. I mean, you feel that there's something that it is holding the people together, and a lot of the songs, as you probably know, are very sad. So there's a lot of songs about so many songs about missing Ireland and wanting to be back there, and the reasons why they had to leave and all that kind of stuff. And so I think there's a lot of pain, actually, the pain, and it's just people use the arts to kind of express that, and also maybe to hold themselves together, because it's St. Patrick's Day is sort of one time a year. You get all these people together. There's a parade and blah, blah, and then they go home to their own communities, and you may not get together again, in the same way until the next year. So,
yeah, it's nice.
I mean, I just think it's the way that the way that people just join in with the party, and everybody performs something. It's great. And it's kind of modern, and it's very ancient at the same time. I think it's like people, thousands of years ago, getting around the campfire and telling stories.
Yeah, no, it's really nice that that you are born in here. But is your parents first generation? of America?
Yes, yeah, it was my grandparents actually that came from Ireland. So
See, it's even more remarkable. Yeah, you're already, second, third generation of, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and you
it,
kept your tradition, which is really remarkable. I think it's wonderful to carry on this.
a lot of people do. I mean, a lot of people are 3 or 4 generations away from Ireland, and you still ask them, they'll say, "Oh, I'm Irish." They still
Mm,
see themselves that.
yeah,
I mean, for me, I was not really brought up with any kind of Irish. I mean, we celebrated St. Patrick's Day. That was about it. My
mm.
mom knew all the songs, but after St. Patrick's Day was over, she's like, "I don't want to hear that music anymore." You want to hear what you hear, like Christmas music, like it's here now.
Yeah,
So move on.
yeah,
But we were not brought. So I was brought, and then I went to school with a lot of guys who were. I went to an all boys school,
yeah,
and a lot of guys were like very proud to be Italian or proud of where they came from, and I was like, I don't have any of that.
yeah.
So I actually just went and started reading about it, and
Uh-huh.
learned about Irish history and learned about culture. And
Yeah,
so
that's wonderful. So let's spend just a little bit time to uh, say hello to our friends, your friends, a lot of your friends. Okay. So hi, Peter. I'm starting from beginning, and you have a friend called Sileh.
Sheila.
Sheila. Hi, Sheila. Store, our neighbor. Hi, how are you? And Cat.
Cat Dwyer.
Cat D. Dyer.
Dwyer, yeah.
Dwyer. Oh, okay. Yeah.
She's great.
She's yeah. Hey, oh, she said hi, G, for doing this. Thank you. Hi, Cat. So let's see who else. Stu, hi. How are you? Cat. Scott.
Scott
Lung.
Lunsford is my coworker.
Oh, hi, Scott. Hi, L E. And then we have a Coletta. Colette. Colette.
Colette?
Yeah.
I think she's a friend of mine from the Mayo. I work on I volunteer for the County Mayo Foundation. I think we work together.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Hi, W. Mar.
That's Winter, I think.
Oh, hi, Winter.
Another one of our neighbors.
I know Winter. And LE again, and then Mark is here. Mark likes your comment. You mentioned him. Mark and you're really close buddies, huh? Yeah. And I enjoyed the play, Mark's Christmas thingy. Just a few weeks ago, they did a reading
Yeah.
theater. That was really good. Yeah. Ugly Christmas sweater. The music. So thank you guys all being here with us. And I have been doing this so-called talk shows since March 27th. So today is episode 45. So I've been talking to artists, politicians, musicians, specialists, or all kind of people. Yeah, and a lot of musicians. Yeah, and so we do it on Monday, Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Please remember, if you please consider subscribe my YouTube channel, and I will deliver more interesting things consistently. Right. So anyway, now let's see. Did I forget anything else? Hi, how are you, Lisa? Oh, L E. Oh, LE is Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Uh, Annalisa. Annalisa is your friend.
Yes, she was the actress who did the piece.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, the video that you played.
Annalisa, we played your reading. That was really great. And if someone just joined us now, you can always watch from beginning later on, because it will be on YouTube right after, about few minutes after we talk later. Okay. So Andrea, say hello to Andrea. Hi, it's Red. Great talk. So now come back to talk about your screenplay. How is this? You have recently you have two Can you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, this is a brand new thing for me. I mean, as I said, I've been writing for years. I'm writing mostly, short stories and novels, and I've written a bunch of plays. Living in New York City, I had a lot of opportunities to do that. And a lot of times people would come to see my plays and say, "Oh, you have to turn that into a screenplay. You should turn it into a movie." And I always told people I just don't have film ideas. I just don't walk down the street and get hit in the head with oh, that would make a great movie. I just my mind just doesn't think that way. I think because I start with words. I'm more of a word person, I guess. It sort of begins for me. It begins with words and wordplay and all that sort of thing. So, but anyway, I was clowning around with my friend Tony Wu, and we were talking about. I had caught a big fish on the beach last Memorial Day, right, the day before my birthday, and got my picture on the Facebook page and in the local newspaper and all this. So we were joking about that, and then we saw some cops around the same town, and he said, "Well, you got your picture in the paper for catching a fish. Now you're going to get your picture in the paper for getting arrested or something." And anyway, I just got this idea in my mind. I thought, well, that could be a funny skit, and I said, no, it's not a skit. It's a film. It's a short film. So I started writing down this silly story about this fisherman, and it's called Catch Anything. And I wrote this short script about 9 pages long, and I've been submitting it to different contests, and it's a finalist in a few contests, and it actually won the best short script for the Indie Film Fest in Los Angeles. So it's amazing. It's my first screenplay. I'm sure people hate me for that, but it's my first screenplay, and it actually won a prize. So
that's wonderful.
The other one is so I read it, and the other one was based on a flash fiction piece that I wrote about a young woman in the South Bronx whose husband he comes home and he's telling her that he's taken some revenge for her, and he doesn't tell her exactly what he's done, and she kind of suspects what he's done. She sees some blood on his jacket, and she smells something that smells like gunpowder. So she kind of pieces it together, and she's hoping against hope that what he did was not too bad. But then at the very end, he runs into the bathroom and throws up. So she realizes he must have done something very bad, and he's been acting crazy trying to cover it up. So, so that one's called "It Takes You by Surprise," which was the slogan of a liquor that the kids used to drink in the South Bronx, called Cisco. I think it might still be around, but that was their advertising slogan. It takes you right. So that one that's a finalist in a couple of competitions as well.
Wow.
So,
wow, that's
great. I mean, it's just I've written these two things, and then I just recently wrote a full-length one based on my first novel called The World. I just finished a screenplay adaptation of that. So I changed the title to because the title's causing a lot of confusion, as you can see. I changed the title to Love and Bear, which is a line from Shelley, and which it connects with the story in a number of ways. So so who knows? We'll see what happens with that. So I did that to some places too. So, but that one's brand new. So I have the 2 short ones and 1 full-length one.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, can you share with us a little bit about how your creativity sort of works? Like you just did a little bit, like when you see the cops, you sort of trigger you to make this. But in terms of more practically, do you write in the morning or do you write at night? Do you write with computer or do you write with a paper pen?
I usually write in the evening, after work, because I'm not really much of a morning person. But yeah, so I try to write right after work. I try to find a quiet spot, and I don't usually start just with start on the computer. I like to at least some phase of it. I'm going to write by hand. I write either some first drafts of things, or what I often do is I'll type up a rough draft. I'll write the draft by hand, type it up, print that up, and then scribble all over it, make changes, and then print it up, and just go through an iterative process until I'm happy with it. So yeah, so it's basically in the evening, and I'm not very comfortable just starting with the computer for some reason. I feel like I have to have have my hands on the paper at some point, paper and pen, either. But the screenplays, it was a little different because it's more of a formatting thing you have to follow. So I did more of that in the computer, but even that, I wrote some of it in a notebook before I typed it up. So I think I'd like to have the process of, because that way you go through several versions, even if you're typing it. I mean, the way I do it, I'll make changes as I'm typing, improving. So it's really like a second draft, and then I just edit it and keep, edit it, then make the changes on the computer, edit it by hand, make those changes until I'm happy with the result.
Yeah. So seems like you're very productive, like a musician supposed to practice every day. There's a saying, say, if you don't practice one day, you know yourself. If you don't practice 2 days, people knows it. If you don't practice for 3 days, the entire world knows you did not practice.
Oh,
Just
really?
meaning you're deteriorating. And the truth is, I haven't been practicing for 2 or 3 years, so shamefully saying, but I can still play. I can still fumbling through. But my question is, seems like you do writing, if not every day, but very, very consistently, right? Can you say you do not write for a month or two or a year, you can still come back? Or is there something for a writer, it's better to always sort of, sharpen your thoughts?
I don't know. I've never gone that long without. I mean, I think it's something that I really need to do. It's not something that I feel like if I do miss a day or a couple of days, I start to not be able to sleep and just sort of things get weird. I just feel it's something that I just have to do. So I try to make the time. Not every day, but just every weekdays usually. Weekends I don't really do too much. Although now with the COVID, we were stuck inside. I did a lot more on the weekends than I used to do.
Yeah. Does it matter where you do it? Like, do you prefer to do it in your own study, or do you prefer sometime go before pre-COVID? Do you like to write in a cafe?
I do, yeah. I'd like to. Yeah, I don't know if I prefer, but yeah, sometimes I do. I just to get out of the house, to get out of the apartment, I'll go to a cafe. As long as it's quiet, or quiet enough. I don't mind other people roaming around, but if it's not too noisy or too much music or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. I like to go. There's a place near Columbia University I like to go to. You can get some coffee, as long as I have some caffeine and some quiet. I find even though, I think when I was younger, I thought, if I only have a half an hour or I only have this much time, it's not worth it. I don't have enough time to focus. But I feel like if you have an hour every day or something, the other 23 hours of the day, your brain is kind of preparing for it. So when you sit down to do it, it's just, even when you're really tired, I find the results are worthwhile.
So I'm looking around because I have something. Sorry, I have to go over there. I have something to show you. You will be amused.
Okay.
Okay. So
Oh, it's Malachy. Malachy records Amongst Women, yeah.
yeah. You know what?
It's a great book.
My husband bought for me this Sunday.
Oh yeah,
because he knows I'm going to talk with you. Because yeah, we went to Cold Spring. Wait, Saturday or Sunday? Saturday, yeah. And we walked into. I did not go inside. I don't really like to go to used like a secondhand store, because I feel like I have so much junk already. Why do I have to buy more junk? So he went inside and he came out with this book. So anyway, tell me a little bit about the author, because he's Irish, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I was going to say too. I think what helped me with completing this novel is I was reading, and also I was hosting and producing the Irish American Writers and Artists salon. So we had salons twice a month. And so that gave me something that's very important to any writer, which was a deadline. Because I always wanted to read something if I was hosting the show, So it kind of pushed me to get something that was rough, get it at least polished enough that I could read it in front of people. But anyway, Malachi is also the whole idea for the salon came from Malachi. He said he wanted, we had this organization. He said, why don't we get the regular members involved and have people start to share their works? And in the Irish style that I was describing before about, the people with their party pieces, people come with their the readings or their songs or dances or films or whatever they had, and share them with each other. So yeah, Malachi is great. He's a wonderful actor. He's been in the Molly Maguires. He was in a bunch of independent movies. He's an atheist, but he's played more priests than I think any other actor or any other atheist. Anyway, he was cast as a priest in a couple of different soap operas, and he's just a great spirit. He just has, he encourages people's creativity. He likes to, and since his brother Frank wrote a very famous memoir, it's called Angela's Ashes. And then Malachi started to write. And I think what you have there is his first book, Amongst Women. And so he's written a few other books since then. And his latest one is called Death Need Not Be Fatal. So now he's an actor, a writer. He's been a radio host. He's just a all-around raconteur and character. And he's great. And I think he's 87 years old, and he's got more energy than a lot of people much younger than he is.
Yeah. This one's in 1998. Yeah. So
I think that was his first book.
Yeah.
After Angela, his brother published Angela's Ashes.
Yeah. Very talented people. So I have a question for you. Kind of personal. How did you meet your wife?
I met her in a bar. It was a Friday afternoon. I went to a bar that I usually went to after work on Friday, and it was just really crowded and annoying. And so I walked up the street to a different place. And since it was Friday, I wasn't really expecting to get a seat anyway, because places are usually crowded at that time. But I ended up getting a seat, and there were two empty seats next to me. And I heard her and two of her friends came in. And I heard them say, "Oh, we need to find 3 seats together." So I said, "Well, here, you can have this one, and that way you can have these all 3." And then we started talking, and the rest is history.
That's nice. Nice. So, it's nothing really new that different, you're American, you're Irish, she's Chinese, and so I'm married to a white person. So anyway, I was just wondering, was there a lot of adjustments in terms of culturally to deal with living with someone grew up together, or you will?
Yeah, sometimes. I think especially in the beginning. As you said, there's much greater emphasis on food than. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, there was a lot of things to try to understand.
Yeah.
I guess just different way. Like one basic thing you're probably familiar with, like in English in America, we say thank you for everything. We say thank everybody. But in China, you basically say thank you to someone who's working for you, like a waitress or a servant or something. You wouldn't necessarily say thank you to your family members, right?
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like, there were times I thought were rude because you're not,
Yeah.
Little cultural differences like that.
Yeah, we're more polite to outside people.
Yeah.
Yeah, typical. Yeah, that's nice. The Western world is really always say thank you, very, very polite. Yeah.
And it's not an insult. Whereas I think in China, if you thank people too much, they would.
Yeah.
It would be insulting to them.
Right. So, Anyway, yeah. So now we are almost time. Thank you. Well, let's do another round of thank you. Winter Ma, thank you. Hey, Trumpet for Yan! Trumpet for Yan! Trumpet for Yan. I don't even know his real name. His name on website is called Trample for Yan. He used to be a Donald Trump fan. Now is for Yan, Andrew Yan. Andrew Yan, yeah, I support Andrew Yan. I'm a Yangan.
Well,
So
that's
Trample for Yan means now he is a Yangan, but he was a Tramper fan. You know what I mean? God love a girl at a bar in the afternoon, laughing out loud. Thank you, Trample for Yan.
yeah. Winter was there when I caught the fish, so
Yeah. Oh, okay.
that kind of inspired the story.
Yeah, yeah. And David, David joined us. Ritten Rittenhouse. It must be your friend.
My cousin's husband.
Oh, hi. Thank you all so much. Yeah. So, should we do rapid fire? Do you want? Do you anything you can think of? Um. Anything I have not covered? Do you have anything you want to tell us?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm basically. I mean, I'm. I'd like people to check out the new book. If you want to read something shorter, like the other novel, The World, or the short stories, Dreams and Dull Realities, those are available on Amazon. And I look forward to the play in February. If hopefully we can all get together and sit in the theater and watch it.
Yeah, yeah. And how do you feel? How is the COVID in Ireland? Do you know?
I think they've done very well. I think they shut things down right away, and I think they've done much better than this country has, to tell you the truth. I think the pubs are still not open. They're still being very careful. But I think they very few cases, and they seem like they've managed it very well. They reacted very quickly, and it's a much smaller country too, so it's kind of easier. But I think they just, they didn't waste any time. They shut everything down very quickly. So I think they're getting relatively back to normal now with outdoor dining and the same things we have here. But
yeah,
but it was kind of scary because a lot of people live in rural. I mean, most of the country is rural. So if someone did get very sick, it was a little bit scary. Like how do you get them to the hospital in time and things like that. So I think some of my relatives there were a little, they seemed very concerned about it. But thank God, it seems like they've managed it very well.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So I hope we will still come to your house for the party.
Yeah, well, I had to cancel. That was one of the things. St. Patrick's Day was. I mean, we had to cancel the party. That was when it really started to hit home.
Yeah.
All the St. Patrick's Day celebrations were canceled.
Yeah.
And Ireland shut down theirs before we did. Before New York. New York kind of has because it's such a tradition. It's been going on since colonial times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's hard for them to say that we're not going to do it this year.
Yeah. So if you have, I'm talking to our audience. If you have any question for John or me, you can type here if you want to. Okay. Otherwise, we're gonna do a little fun game before we end the session. And thank you so much for being with us. All right. So let's. Are we ready for rapid fire?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna ask some short questions, and then supposed to be short answer, but it's okay. If you talk long, it's okay too. We're pretty loose here. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I forgot to ask you. Like, do you have a question for me, John?
So how would you said you didn't practice your viola for 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
Do you notice a dramatic difference? It sounds beautiful, but
I can't really play really difficult things. I can't play Bach, solo suite very well. It shows, but I can mumbling, playing little songs in my head, which I have a lot of songs. So and I yeah, so it's limited. If a string player, uh, they can tell like I'm doing simple things. Let's put it that way. I can make something really pretty still, but people don't play string instrument. They probably couldn't tell. I did not practice for many years.
And how about your films? I know you shot a lot of footage of the Andrew Yang
Yeah.
campaign. Are you going to turn it into a film?
Yeah, thank you for asking. It's gonna be a long project. I really should, I started to do it a little bit. Yeah, I shot about close to a year. I made 120, including uh, live streaming. Uh, so including live streaming when I'm out there in Iowa and New Hampshire. So I made 120 films already about JM.
Wow.
Yeah, they are all short. Some are 5 minutes. Some could be 30 to 40 minutes. So what I need to do is to put everything together. You know how difficult it is. Yeah, I first have to review all of them, make index cards, and then just remember what I have, and then try to tell a story in more cohesive way.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot.
It's a huge
Hours and hours of footage.
huge project. Yeah, huge. Project. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see. All right. Um. Hold on a second. Oh, sorry. Let's start with the easy ones. Favorite color?
It's blue, I guess.
Blue. Yeah.
Green.
Favorite type of food?
I'll say Szechuan food.
Right. That's a correct answer. So you play the guitar. What other instrument you would like to learn?
I actually started to play the ukulele. Started to learn a little bit of that. I got one. Alex gave me that for my birthday, so I've been playing. Yeah, it's fun. I'm learning what other. And I used to play. I just played some hand drums before, like African drums and some Middle Eastern drums. I'd like to do more of that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Two places you want to visit next. I mean, it's not a COVID question, right? Like pretending there's no COVID.
Yeah.
Two places you want to visit.
I'd like to go to Greece. I mean, I've been wanting to go there for a long time. I'd like to see more places in Italy as well. I mean, I'd like the Cinque Terre and places like that. I mean, there's a lot of. I've been to Rome and Florence, but I haven't really seen the rest of the country. So,
Yeah,
I'd like to see more of India too. I was in India for my friend's weddings for 6 days. It was really quick. We never didn't get to see. We saw New Delhi. We saw Delhi. We saw the Taj Mahal, and a lot of great architecture. But it's a huge country to explore, which I never didn't get to see. So I'd love to go back there too. That's 3.
yeah. If you can pick 3 person to have lunch with in a month, who are these persons will be?
Living people or
Living or dead?
I guess James Joyce would probably be one of them. I'd like to. I don't know, Jimi Hendrix. I'm not sure I would have kind of loved, but he's, fantastic guitar player. I don't know if he'd probably bring his guitar to lunch, but that would be good. I don't know, let's say Lord Byron. How about that? Let's throw a poet in there too.
Thank you. All right. I know you're a multi-landlord person, but still, places you consider to retire.
I'd love to retire. I mean, I'd love to retire to Ireland. I think that would be great. We were talking about that. I mean, New York City is great. I mean, we're in the Morningside Gardens where we live is a great place, I think, for retired people because there's lots of activities and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe so, and maybe some place like Spain or some place that has a beach. Make it warm, warm weather with a nice cafe nearby.
Yeah, sounds good. So ice cream flavor. You like
Chocolate, I guess.
chocolate?
Chocolate chip ice cream is usually what.
Yeah.
Chocolate chip cookie dough I had yesterday.
Oh yeah. Movies you like?
Just any movie I like. I mean.
Yeah, just like
My Left Foot pumps
on top of your head. Huh?
My Left Foot was the first one.
Oh yeah, My Left Foot. Right.
I love that movie. Casablanca. I love a lot of film. I mean, I love a lot of foreign films too.
Yeah. Well, book you read last?
Their Eyes Were Watching God. I finished that recently. Nora Zero Hurston. It was an excellent book. Never read it.
That's great. So, hypothetically, if you win lottery tomorrow, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna write. I'll keep writing. Just keep writing.
It's funny. You said that, because I'm interrupting the flow now. I was asking John, my husband, same thing. Like yesterday, I said, if you win lottery, what are you gonna do? I open an office on 96th Street. You're still working? That's pretty funny. So yeah, it's great. That just shows you love your work, right? You love your art. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I focus on it full time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I know this question, but I'm asking you anyway. Beer or wine?
Beer.
Okay, last question.
I like wine though.
You like wine too, yeah. You said both. Last question: coffee or tea?
Coffee. I drink coffee in the morning and I drink tea in the afternoon.
Oh, okay. That's great. You had it all.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so let's see. Do we get anybody ask question? Oh, Mark said, "Do you support mayonnaise or are you pro mustard?"
I'm not as opposed to mayonnaise as that was mostly based on my mother. My mother did not like mayonnaise. So
yeah. Great. Well, thank you guys for watching, and please check out John's book on Amazon, and all our links about our work or social media is below in this description. And please consider subscribe my YouTube channel. Do you have a YouTube channel, John? Do you have a YouTube channel?
Sorry.
Do you have a YouTube channel? Oh, okay. All right. Great. Well, thank you. It's been so much fun, and thank you. Thank you for talking to me, John, and happy birthday to Daisy, and thank you guys for and you have a big crowd today. You have a big support system. That's great.
Well, thank you for everyone who's tuned in too.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, so until next time, and you guys be safe, and I'll see you hopefully soon, John and Daisy, and I see you later, Mark, and okay, great. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Bye-bye.